It's Friday, Junior, ladies and gentlemen. That means it's the best day of the week, and we have made it. Welcome. Warm welcome to you. My name is Joy Tribble, and I want to welcome you back to Hear My Take. That's right, yes. This is your weekly digital show. Listen, lots of stuff going on. It is March. Welcome to Women's History Month. Thank you very much. All of us ladies who are out here making history, we appreciate this particular month because it allows us to highlight all of the things that we're doing, the things that we're doing well, or the things that we might get into. So I am so glad you're here. Do me a favor, though. Like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, all right? That helps the algorithm talk to you, which then talks back to me, and it helps to keep us connected, right? It keeps my creative momentum rolling, and it just keeps everything the main thing. Is that all right? Listen, also, I want you to follow the show at @HearMyTake_ on all social media. That is where you can see little clips and such, and all of the other things that I'm doing as well. If this is your first time, let me tell you a little bit about what I do. I'm going to be opining on whatever, okay? And when I say whatever, I mean whatever. Whatever tickles my fancy, okay? Whatever cooks my grits, it is all fair game. But most importantly, I like to have a lot of fun. So make sure you stay with me so we can do all of that stuff. Grab a snack, get in a chat, and let's connect, let's commune. Let's get a little spicy. Let's dissect and let's download and let's do all of the things that we could talk about that is happening throughout our country, throughout the world. It could be pop culture. It could be just whatever. So we're going to get that going, all right? I think we got all of the housekeeping stuff done. It is ready to take off. And if you are good and I am good, it is time for highlights and headlines. Operation Epic Fury. And if you don't know what that means, it's been circulating all over the news and social media. And of course, Operation Epic Fury is the war. All right. But it's not a war, but it's a war. Yeah. Really confusing. There's been a lot of different commentary coming out of this administration. And a lot of people don't know what we're doing and what we've been hoisted into. And I know that can be confusing and people don't understand it. So allow me to provide just a little bit of oversight, just to bring some clarity. And it's really high level. It's not going to be a lot, but I want to give you a couple of bullet points so that you can kind of see what's going on. A lot of this stems back to the 1950s and 70s as the leadership in these countries were particularly Iran. There was a tug of war going on, right? And who would be best in terms of leadership for this region. And so this goes back to the Iranian Revolution, okay? I know this feels a little laborious because it's history, but past is prologue, right? And so we need to be aware of the things that are going on, okay? We need to know certain words, certain things, certain reasons why we are where we are. So it stems back to the Iranian Revolution, where Iranians opposed westernization, right? They wanted to maintain their Islamic governance. And so that meant that certain leaders, according to Iran, that they didn't care for were cozying up to Western ideology. All right. And so there became a rub. All right. There was also bitter blood between Israel and Iran back in the 70s, particularly 1979, because Iran, right, has lots and lots of oil. OK, they have a huge oil supply. And so Iran cut off oil to Israel. All right. And then in a I'm going to get you back, Israel then stopped accepting passports to Iran. Wait, let me make sure I get that right. Iran cut off oil to Israel, and then Israel stopped accepting Iran's passports. I think that's correct. And so then in proxy, Israel is really close, right, to westernized culture. They're the only country in that region, that is a democracy. And so with that created a lot of deep-seated animosity, right, over there, because, this is the ideology of the region Islam. That is what they believe. And so when you sort of cozy up to Westernization, that didn't really sit well. So there's really a whole lot more to the crux of what regime leaders and what a lot of the fighting is that's going on in that region. But a lot of it stems from leadership, who's at the helm, who it's almost kind of like, and I don't want to make light of it, but it's almost kind of like who represent whose clique, okay, and how we want to maintain our particular lifestyle. All right. So if we fast forward to present day, okay, Iran has nuclear capabilities that the U.S. and the allies in that region are not comfortable with. Okay. And so there was an agreement that was imposed during the Obama administration called the Iran nuclear deal. Now, I don't know how much into news you are or if you are familiar with that, but that was a big deal during Obama's administration. And that was back in 2015. And the idea of that Iran nuclear deal was to curb Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanction relief. So reduce your artillery, reduce your nuclear weapons, right? And then we will lift sanctions, right? So that was the agreement that the Obama administration put into place. So in this program, Iran actually agreed. They agreed to reduce its enriched uranium stockpile by 98%. Okay. So that meant that all that they had left in terms of enriched uranium stockpile was 3.6%. That's a lot of data. That's a lot of details. So I just want to make sure we are good in understanding that. Iran had a lot of nuclear stockpile. The U.S. wanted that to be reduced. Obama came in and said, hey, let's put this deal together, the Iran nuclear deal. Tell you what, reduce your stockpile, okay? We'll lift the sanctions, all right? So also in this agreement, it was subject to, however, because the Iranian leadership is known to be a little bit wiry, okay? And they can say they're going to do a thing and then they don't, all right? So in this agreement, it also needed to have, or it would be subject rather, to frequent inspections to ensure that they were adhering to said agreement to verify nuclear safety and security. All right. So this is what we need you to do. But in an effort for us to trust you, you are going to have frequent inspections to ensure that you're doing what you said that you would do according to the agreement of this deal. OK, so some of the key activities that were included were, of course, those on-site inspections, environmental sampling, remote monitoring, verifying data accuracy to detect unauthorized diversions of nuclear materials, and to ensure compliance with international standards. OK, pretty much we trust you, but we need to verify. OK, so for all intents and purposes, things were moving along. Iran was compliant for the most part. Well, enters Donald Trump with his election in 2016, that was? Okay. So in May of 2018, Trump withdrew the United States from this particular agreement, okay? Because he said that he didn't like it. And so he wanted, which led to Iran abandoning this agreement. Obama put the agreement in place. Trump took the agreement out, which led to Iran saying, forget it. We ain't doing nothing. All that stuff that we talked about we would do with Obama, we're not doing anything. Okay. And so it was easy to abandon this deal because fortunately the deal went in place, but unfortunately, this was not submitted to Congress as a binding treaty. So it really didn't have any legality to it, which made it a lot easier for Donald Trump to remove the United States, or withdraw us rather, because it was just a political commitment. So there wasn't anything really, put in stone that this would live on beyond the Obama years. Okay. So it gave Trump ammunition to be like, well, I don't like it. We're going to come out of it. And so then Iran was like, okay, cool. So because of that, a lot of us know that, of course, Israel and the U.S., we are interconnected a lot. Okay. we're interconnected. I'll just leave it at that. But Israel wants to topple Iran. That is like their arch nemesis. They do not like Iran. So they want to topple their regime. All right. So in comes Israel with these preemptive strikes that happened a week ago, this coming Saturday, or maybe it's been a week. Yeah, maybe it's been about a week. So in comes these preemptive strikes, right? So I don't know if you've heard the chatter, but there's been chatter about why these were preemptive. Was Iran a threat? Was it necessary? Were they an imminent threat to us? Why did we make these preemptive strikes if there particularly was not an imminent threat? Well, because Israel doesn't like Iran, and America and both Israel feel that Iran is at its weakest point, right? Is at its weakest point in terms of having nuclear arms. Let's just go ahead and get them before they get us. That's sort of what they've been telling us. As we go through this breakdown, we're finding out that that isn't exactly true. All right. Here's what I can't understand as it relates to the things that have been said to us and then the actual things that are happening. Okay. This administration back in June of 2025, okay, they told the American citizens that Iran's nuclear weapons stockpile was obliterated. Okay. This is what they told us. So everybody's like, cool. It's obliterated. They should no longer be a threat. Okay, let's come back to last week when these preemptive strikes happened. They were saying Iran is a threat. Well, if in June of 2025, the U.S. went and obliterated Iran's nuclear stockpile, then are they an imminent threat or not? Was the obliteration true or was it not? And see, I think the challenge that this particular administration is having is that it's not really clear what the goals are, right? Because we've been hearing a lot of chatter. Is it regime change? Meaning leadership changes, taking one leader out and putting another leader in? Is it really helping the Iranians gain democracy? We've heard that the Iranians don't want to be under the auspices of the Ayatollah. Ayatollah means the supreme leader, the person that is over Iran. So sometimes we hear these words in the news and some of us may or may not be familiar. Ayatollah means the leader, right? And so, does this mean democracy for the Iranian people and that they're no longer under the Ayatollah? So nobody really knows, right? They've been kind of moving the goalpost a lot as it relates to what they're telling us is the actual truth about why we are in this war. Here's what we do know, however. Okay, here's what we know. 6 military service members have been killed. That's what we know for sure. Because Donald Trump said that he had a feeling, not that he's going with U.S. intelligence, but because he had a feeling. Well, we all know that feelings are fleeting. Okay. Fleetings come like the sun comes and goes. I mean, how are we using what you feel to determine the necessary intelligence or whether or not we should strike another country, whether we should bomb another country? So to me, because there's so much incongruence and inconsistency, right? This kind of reminds me of that Venezuela situation, right? Where we went in and took Maduro and we're trying to take that leader out of that country. A lot of this, regime change, this is what we need. It'll keep us safe. It'll keep the region safe. It'll keep all of our allies safe. We need to get these people out. That's what he said about Venezuela, okay? I also think about Greenland, right? And Donald Trump's obsession with that situation and wanting to occupy Greenland and take over Greenland. I think about Trump's obsession with Canada, wanting them to be the 51st state. All of these things, all of these thoughts, all of these ideas are based on what he thinks and what he feels. And now we are in a war based on his feelings, right? He even said that it wasn't so much that Iran wanted to, or Israel wanted to make this move against Iran. It was him pretty much pushing Israel to pull the trigger. He literally just said this a day or so ago. So to me, Donald Trump acts like he's the president of the world. Like you meddle. And listen, don't get me wrong. The United States has a way of meddling. Let's just be very clear, okay? We as a country, we always feel like we got to be Captain America. We got to come in and we got to come and save everybody and put everybody under a democracy, or everybody's not doing what we do over here. So we need to go over there and make sure that they're doing things the way good old America does it. Listen, do I appreciate my perceived freedom? Because if we knew anything about what happened during COVID, there was some freedoms that weren't as free as people wanted them to be. I digress. I won't get into that. But our freedom, while it sounds like freedom, there's control that happens. So that's why I said perceived freedom. I appreciate what we're able to do, what we're able to say, although the FCC has gotten really, really heavy-handed in their approach. But I feel like the way that we meddle, I feel like what is happening now and how we're meddling into Israel and Iran's, this has been going on for 47 years. So this isn't something that is new. It's been going on for a very long time. I just often feel like, why do we feel we need to do that? And if we do go in and then the regime changes, I believe some of the Iranian people feel like if America comes in and then all of this stuff changes, when you all leave, then what? Then what happens? So, I think they want us to believe that it's about safety, right? Or democracy, or, for the Iranians to reduce their nuclear capabilities. But again, as we spoke about regime change, Donald Trump just told Axios today that he must be involved in selecting the next leader of Iran. So what does that sound like to you? Sounds a lot like what happened in Venezuela when Trump removed Maduro. And so now he wants to decide who's now going to control this country. Listen, newsflash, Iran is not Venezuela. Stay with me. I know this is historic, right? But it is affecting us, and hopefully it will not affect us on our homeland, okay? But Iran is not Venezuela, okay? And so when you talk about Donald Trump wanting to select the next leader of Iran, what does that sound like to you? I'm going to tell you what it sounds like to me. It sounds like regime change, okay? And here's the challenge with this idea of regime change in Iran. The regime is the Iranian people's faith. It is not a person. And what I mean by that is their religion, their belief, their ideology is the regime. So if you take out Mickey Mouse, for lack of a better example, and then put in Donald Duck, they all belong to Walt Disney. So nothing is going to change, right? And see, the way that we think in terms of democracy or changing leadership, when you change the person, then certain policies and things change because there's a new person in place. And that is a misnomer. And that's what I'm learning about Iran and what their ideology speaks to. So when you say we're going for a regime change, sir, all they're doing is taking one person that believed one thing and putting a new person in the same position, believing the same thing. So is there really regime change happening? Is it? When you think about that, right? When you think about removing leaders, right? Or regime change, we as Americans, we don't like it when people get involved in or outside of our country as it relates to interfering with our elections. We don't take too kindly to that, okay? Let's ask about what happened during January 6th. We don't like, okay, when we feel like there's been some level of impropriety when it comes to our elections, okay? So if we have such disdain for that type of behavior, what makes him and this administration think that this is acceptable? This behavior is obtuse. It is overreach. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. It's just not. We're having a tough enough time handling the situations that we have currently going on in our country. And here we are, so busy worrying about what other people have going on. So here are the results of this war so far, because it's been brutal already for no reason. In the first 100 hours of this war, it's cost taxpayers $3.7 billion in the first 100 hours. That's how much money has been spent. Think about that. It's a lot of money when we can't have health care, when we're removing people off the SNAP program, when housing is unaffordable, when wages are low. In 100 hours, not days, not weeks, not months, hours, $3.7 billion has been spent, according to Forbes. Currently, Americans are stuck in 11 different countries around the Middle East due to this war. Folks can't even get home because airspace is closed because of this war. So imagine you on vacation. Baby, I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to Abu Dhabi, baby. I'm going to the spice market. I'm going to the gold market. I'm going to get me some, some cologne, all of the things. Dubai, I'm going to dinner in the sky. All of that stuff. Right? People do. Or I'm going to the mosque. I'm going to the. You in Dubai. This war breaks out because Dubai is right there in the region. They're wreaking havoc over in Dubai, and you just on vacation, and all of a sudden you're there, calamity breaks out, and your country has you stuck, and you can't get out because we're meddling. Remember when Pam Bondi said during her congressional hearing, I don't know what's wrong with you people. The Dow is up. Well, ma'am, the Dow is down as of today. The Dow is down and gas prices are up. All right? Because of this war. I often feel like they are just worried about the wrong thing. They're just not focused on whatever happened to America first, right? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to I'm the president that's not going to send us to war? If I was president, that war wouldn't have broke out. If I was president, none of this stuff would have happened. Here we are, some 14 months into your presidency. The Ukrainian war is still going on. The situation in Venezuela is happening. What is going on in Iran right now is happening. What happened to all of that? You was talking 45, 47. What happened? So, if you know me, I get in. I like having robust conversations. Let's just put it at that. A lot of people have said to me, girl, you should have been an attorney. You like to get into little scuffles, little back and forth. Like T.I. say, I'll tongue wrestle, I'll lip box. I'll tongue wrestle, I'll lip box, okay? Some people might say I do, but I don't. I digress. But I got into a little bit of a back and forth on Facebook with somebody who supports Donald Trump, and he expressed his feelings about how thankful he was that Trump is doing this and how evil the Ayatollah is. And he said the Iranian people have had enough of this murderous, treacherous regime that grapes kills and oppresses them. They've killed 50,000 of their own and injured and tortured thousands of others, including children, just last month. And this is what he placed on his Facebook page. There was a lot of other stuff, but this is what he put on his page. Okay. So let me be very clear. I have no doubt that according to the way us in westernized culture, what we believe and what we think about, regime and foul things that are happening to the Iranian people, and what we believe about democracy, we've been told that everybody wants democracy, or we think everybody wants democracy. Okay, all right, fine. And to him, a lot of the people over in Iran are rejoicing now that the Ayatollah is dead. Okay. And so he said that tells him all he needs to know about his support for Donald Trump and why he's glad that he's doing what he's doing, all of this evil and the rapes and the oppression and all of this stuff. So my response back to him was, you can't cry foul for the treatment and behavior of a bully leader elsewhere while treating your own people the same way. That's like trying to save someone from domestic violence at your neighbor's house and then beating the daylights out of your own spouse at home. That math doesn't math, and it never will. And it never will. You can't say that the Ayatollah was this evil, mean person that was causing and reaping havoc on these people and all of these things, killing and rapes and all of this stuff, oppression and all of these things. If you haven't taken a look at the stuff that is going on in this country as it relates to some of those same atrocities, you cannot say that out one side of your mouth and then not say the issues that are very similar, might I add, to what we're doing over here to our own people. And so that didn't sit well with me. And so me and him sort of got into a back and forth about it a little bit. And then, and listen, let me tell you the truth, the real truth. I actually like the guy, right? I have no problem with the guy. But his wife jumped into the comment section like, oh my God, I just can't believe that you're being so disrespectful. And you're being not Christ-like, and you've been all over my husband's post and saying so many mean things. I would advise you to please refrain. I said, ma'am, listen. I said, first of all, I'm making a comment on a public platform just like your husband did. That's number one. Number two, disagreement doesn't mean that I'm not Christ-like. Actually, it's prudent. And because they're Christians, I'm a Christian, but they evangelicals. Okay, we can have a whole nother conversation about evangelicals, but they evangelicals. Okay, and this is not Christ-like, and you can't. And so I said to her, I said, ma'am, disagreement does not mean that I'm Christ-like. Remember them tables in the temple? Now, a lot of people would have said that was not Christ-like, but that was your Savior that flipped them tables over. So don't talk to me about, this isn't Christ-like and being all angry. And Jesus got angry in them temples because it was foolishness going on. So let's be really clear about your Jesus, okay? Because I know my Jesus flipped tables. So miss me with all of this fake outrage, girl, please. And I had to get back with her too. Now, I was prudent, okay? Now I'm giving y'all the rhythm, I'm giving y'all that jalapeno, But I mean, I still had to be very clear. Like, ma'am, please don't misunderstand having a disagreement with you as being something else. So, I just find it really interesting how, some people, and listen, you are allowed, we have the freedom in this country to believe what we want to believe. And that is part of the freedom that we appreciate. But I just find it really rich, some of the things that people that support Donald Trump say. All right, y'all ready to get into Champs and Chumps? Because it's time. All right, coming in at number 1 this week is our girl, Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett. Now, listen, we know this election has already passed, and it was a really critical election in Texas for the Senate seat that happens to be in a very, very Republican district, okay? So it was critical. It's so critical, rather, shall I say, that a lot of Republicans are a little bit nervous, okay, as it relates to this election. And so having said that, I really want to salute Jasmine Crockett for her campaign and how well organized it was and how well she fought and all of the things that she did for the people of Texas and those in her district. And so, of course, we all know that she lost to James Tallarico. We talked about James Tallarico about a week ago or so, who was her opponent, who by all intents and purposes is a nice guy, right? But here's the rub for me. Okay, here's where the rub comes in. I'm online and I see, a lot of commentary and watching people, some of the things that they were saying, leading up to this election and post-election, right? And so I remember seeing a woman say, I love Jasmine Crockett. She's so intelligent. I love her fight. She is what we need. I want somebody like her to represent me in Congress. This is all of the stuff that I see people saying. Particularly, I saw a lady say that. But in the same breath, when they asked her who she voted for, she sheepishly then said, well, I voted for James Tallarico because we needed somebody who could win. I'm like, wait, what? You just said you like Jasmine Crockett. You think she's a fighter and we need her in Congress. But then you voted for James Tallarico? Again, James Tallarico, probably a really nice man. I heard he's a preacher's kid. All the things. We love Jesus Christ. We love church. We love pastors. Jasmine Crockett is a Christian. So what was it that didn't allow you to vote for that woman? Because that, ladies and gentlemen, cooks my grits. It cooks my grits. Because how do you expect her to win, to be impactful, to be the change that you claim that you want, if you don't vote for her? What is that about? I don't know what it is. And it blows my mind. It really blows my mind. I feel like it's disingenuous and it's downright cowardly because you can't say that to me and then you pull the lever for someone else. So I want you to listen to this explanation, and I think this sums up a lot of the people in this country. Take a look.
Paul from California and Independent. Good morning,
Hey,
Paul.
good morning. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. Can I just take a step back first? And I don't want to go off topic too much. And I was a former Republican. I voted for John McCain and Barack Obama. 77 million people voted for a convicted felon who still hasn't conceded the last election. 5 officers died, 4 by suicide. He calls women fat and piggy. He's found liable for abusing women. Are we really surprised that he's trying to play God? Like, that's the bigger issue here as a country, and I think that we're normalizing what this has done. He is actively defying court orders to protect child molesters. Like, what has happened to the morality of this country? And I'm not attacking the last caller, but I'm a person of faith. What kind of person of faith, and these people say that they're pro-life, votes for a man who assaults women and watches officers get beaten on January 6th? What do we become as a country? Now we're just kidnapping people from other countries. We're invading Iran. We're completely abdicating our commitment to the Budapest Memorandum. We're supposed to be protecting Ukraine. This is the same guy that says, I'm going to end the war in one day. We're a year into this. Like, the reality, and I'll lay my place. I don't want to get off topic here, but let's just be real. 77 million people just didn't want to vote for the damn black woman. We're 250 years into this experiment. 51% of our country are women. Women had no rights until the early 1900s. Black people had no rights until the 1960s, and we still haven't had a woman president. We can go back and forth and have these conversations, which you're having, which are great, but the reality is that we don't want to have that conversation, that this country would rather suffer under a white man than thrive under a black woman. Have a good day.
You know how the young people say, let him cook. Baby, he cooked. Did you hear that? Now, that was more specifically about the election between Trump and Kamala. But baby, it was spot on, wasn't it? I mean, it really speaks to, in this particular case, as it relates to Jasmine Crockett, how people are really wired in this country, right? And what they think, you know, what they say, but do they really mean it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it really makes me think about the type of propaganda that feeds them, right? So I just thought that was really interesting. Speaking of feeding people, coming in at number 2 for champs this week is Mr. Walter Johnson. So listen, I don't know if you know who Walter Johnson is. I know a lot of people named Walter Johnson. Shout out to my Walter Johnson. That is my little brother. But that's not who we're talking about. We're talking about Uncle Barbecue, the man that so famously created the word and the movement tendernism, okay, and made the restaurant Destination Smokehouse so incredibly popular, all right, is no longer affiliated with them. Have you seen this all over the news? Mr. Tendernism. His name, of course, yes, is Walter Johnson. And he's no longer there because apparently that relationship ended after a dispute with the owner, and it caused Mr. Johnson to leave. Nobody knows why, but he's not there anymore. But I wanted to make him a part of Champs because there's been an interesting twist in the situation, okay? And are y'all familiar with tendernism? Are you familiar with that? Where he picks up, maybe when he pick up that meat and meat just fall out that bone? That's Mr. Tendernism, okay? But there's been an interesting twist in the situation with the owner, Nick, okay? Because he tried to file a trademark for the word tendernism, okay? And claimed that Mr. Johnson knew about it and said that it was not done without his knowledge. So the owner goes to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, files, and claims that Mr. Johnson didn't know about it, all right? That's a little bit hard for me to believe because if you're going to trademark the word, okay, was he going to keep ownership of it or was he going to transfer it to Mr. Walter? Like, what were you going to do with this trademark of the word that he's so famously made, okay? Well, I doubt that Nick was going to give that word over to Mr. Johnson, but here is where the beauty comes out of this particular situation. Fortunately for Mr. Walter, there was an attorney named Kenneth Harris. So back in November of 2025, this attorney registered the word unbeknownst to anybody. Nobody knew, as a way of looking out and protecting Mr. Johnson's intellectual property and his creative utility of the word. And so now they've met up and he's working to transfer the ownership to Mr. Johnson. So shout out to Kenneth Harris as well. For doing that, for looking out for you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you never know who is, if you're doing good things, you never really know who's got your back. But here's what I think is interesting. You know, for so many people to believe that the contributions of Black and brown people is irrelevant or it's lacking impact, why is it that everything that Black and brown people do is jocked, is stolen, is imitated, and they never get the full credit in the marketplace, financially or otherwise? What is that about? You jock our swag, you jock words like woke, you try to change that, you do all of these things and you try to disenfranchise people, but yet you try to sneak behind Unc's back and go trademark the word. Now, I don't know if he was going to transfer the ownership, but I don't think it's likely. And so I wanted to big up Mr. Walter Johnson today, because here's the irony too with this. Him and the owner, Nick, of Destination Smokehouse, they met while working at Nick's coffee shop. So Destination Smokehouse, before it was Destination Smokehouse, was a coffee shop that Nick's family owned, and Mr. Walter worked at said coffee shop. That's how they got to know each other. That's how they met. And Mr. Walter was the person that convinced Nick that he should go into the barbecue business. Ain't that something? So your claim to fame came off of Unc's back, and then you mistreating Unc and doing all these other things. But here's the part that I love about people. There's been a GoFundMe that's been set up for him to transition, or to help him transition rather, into his next venture. And right now that GoFundMe is up to $60,000. And I believe that he's supposed to be getting a food truck with that and doing some food tours at different barbecue locations throughout the country. So I think whatever that devil meant for bad, gotta make it good. And just like Nene Leak said, baby, you never win when you play dirty. So I am really, really happy for Walter Johnson. And if you're not familiar with him, he's really a social media bright spot. And check out his page, because now he has his own page and he's doing some really, really great things. And so his IG is official Mr. Tendonism. And he's got up to about 300,000 followers. So shout out to him. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need. We need allies out here. You know, when you're doing stuff, you know, it's tough for people to have your back. So big up. And now I want to go taste the doggone barbecue, okay? Because some of those photos and pictures, that meat really is tendonism. I didn't even know about this. I'm gonna tell you, the first time I heard about tendonism was during Thanksgiving, and one of my little nieces came and she was eating some of my food. I mean, maybe some of y'all might not know, but I do a little cooking in the kitchen. I can cook a little bit, you know. Food be tasting pretty all right. And so she was eating some food, the turkey or something, and she just said out loud, tendonism. And I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? So that's when I first got introduced. So shout out, Mr. Johnson. All right, y'all ready for these chumps? So coming in at number 1 is McDonald's CEO. So have you heard about this new sandwich at McDonald's? Now that is running the gamut all over social media too. It's called the Big Arch, all right? And so the CEO, Chris Kemzin, let me get his last name right. Well, they're calling him Chris K, but his last name is Kemzinski, okay? So they're doing this promo to promote this new sandwich, the Big Arch. So he's sitting there and he's got the sandwich in his hand, and he's describing it. And I believe it's like 2 patties of meat, and it's got pickles and lettuce, and also it's got like some crispy onions and such on it. So it's a whole new deal, right? And so Chris is sitting there and he's like, yeah, I'm going to eat this for lunch. And let me take a bite to let you guys know how good this burger is. So y'all, when he picks up the burger, babe, when I tell you he took a mini bite, like y'all, he was like, man, that's a good burger. Now you try to convince us that this burger is all the bee's knees and we need to go buy this burger. But baby, that bite was tiny. That was a little bitty baby bite. He took a really, let me see if I can pull up. Let me see real quick if I can pull up a clip of it. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, here it goes. Check it out.
You've heard about it. Here it is, the Big Arch. This is something that we have tested already. It's in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product. It is so good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So here we go. First, holy cow. God, that is a big burger. We've got a very unique kind of sesame poppy sort of bun on it. We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing, I don't even know how to attack it. Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right, the moment of truth. That is so good.
Y'all, I'm sick of it. I can't do it no more.
Distinctively McDonald's. Only McDonald's could do this type of burger.
Y'all, I can't do it no more. Listen, if you saw this little bitty tiny bite that he took, y'all, it was embarrassing. You cannot be the CEO, sir, and you're trying to promote this new product, and you taking this little bitty tiny bite, baby. Social media is eating him alive, and everybody was just like, man, don't nobody. If you can't convince us with this little bitty bite that you want to eat it, then why should we? So it kind of looks like, according to the photos, it kind of looks like a double quarter pounder, to be honest. And it looks like it doesn't look like yellow American. It kind of looks like white American or white cheddar cheese. And it's got those crispy onions on it. I mean, when was the last time did y'all eat McDonald's? Do y'all still eat McDonald's? So for me, I think the last, I don't want to lie. The last time before the last time, okay, it was about 5 years ago, okay? But I did eat McDonald's when I went to Greece last year. And I only tried it because I wanted to see if there was a difference. You know how they say, all the food over here in the U.S. is GMOs and it's fake. And to be honest with you, that was the reason why I stopped eating it about 5 years ago, because it just doesn't taste the same. French fries taste like wood. Sandwiches is little, like little Lunchables. Baby, I'm a woman. I'm a whole woman. I'm a big old woman. And I need a sandwich that's got some substance. And so I just stopped eating McDonald's. But when I went to Greece, I went and I got the Filet-O-Fish, and it was actually really good. And it reminded me of what the Filet-O-Fish sandwiches used to be back in the day. So it was good. I mean, the fries was all right, but I could tell, like the McDonald's fish, I believe it was like a cod piece of fish. Wasn't it cod? I mean, either way, it was a real piece of fish. And nowadays, I don't know what they got us eating. So it was pretty good. Do y'all remember the song? McDonald's had Big Mac, Filet-O-Fish, quarter pounder with cheese, icy Coke, big shake, sundaes, and apple pie. Y'all remember that song? Y'all remember that song? I remember saying that when I was a little girl. We used to sing that song. Big Mac, Filet-O-Fish, quarter pounder with fries, icy Coke, big shake, sundaes, and apple pie. I'm telling you my age. But, that was when marketing and all the things were the bee's knees, and they would do little jingles and stuff that we always remember. So anyway, I just wanted to call BS on him and that little sandwich called the Big Arch. If you are a McDonald's fan, shout out to McDonald's. I think you should try it out. Report back. Let us know what you think about it. All right. Coming in at number 2 for Chump of the Week is, and listen, baby, she a big old chump. That is Kristi Noem. In the words of the Shanae Jenkins, well. Kristi Noem is out as the Secretary of Homeland Security. Listen, and I'm not saying that, we want to celebrate people that get terminated and all of that. But, honey, you play stupid games, you're going to win a stupid prize. Her at the helm as secretary was atrocious. She was clumsy. She was ineffective. And her in that position was downright embarrassing. Okay. Just a few weeks ago, she suspended TSA at the airports and then immediately had to reverse course on that because the decision was done haphazardly. All right. Her handling in Minnesota was awful when she called both Renee Good and Alex Preddy domestic terrorists with no investigation, no oversight, no purview, not having insight on anything that was going on the ground. And then just yesterday, she was being grilled on Capitol Hill with an embarrassing performance, mind you, was called out by several Congress members, 2 of which were Republican. Tom Tillis, and in particular, Republican Senator John Kennedy. And so he hit her with a question about a campaign that's been running that cost $200 million. Okay. Now, this particular ad is running telling illegals to self-deport, and it showcases her riding a horse through Mount Rushmore, hair blowing in the wind like she Barbie, all of this other stuff. And it really is a gross embarrassment. And so the senator asked her if Trump knew about this ad campaign and if he had signed off on it. And so Kristi Noem goes, yes, he sure did. We come to find out, Donald Trump. Now, we got to take that with a grain of salt, what Donald Trump says and whether or not we believe what Donald Trump says. But baby, come to find out, Donald Trump said he know nothing about it. He know nothing about it. And said he was livid. He was angry. And it embarrasses him, right? And somebody asked him questions about him, and then you put your mouth on him, and he's like, I don't know nothing about that. Well, that's what happened to her. And she got ousted. But here's the interesting thing. They ousted her as the Secretary of Homeland Security, but gave her a new position called, get a load of this, y'all, the Special Envoy to the Shields of America. Baby, what kind of position is that? Okay? It is giving, hello, welcome to Hardee's. Did you want to take something else? Baby, get yourself out of here. Donald Trump was like, girlfriend, you got to go pack your saddle and ride out, because what you're not going to do is embarrass me. If anybody going to embarrass me, it's going to be me. But I'm not going to let you embarrass me. Child. What is a special envoy to the Shields of America? What is that? What does it do? I never heard of it. Maybe they made this up. This is not even real. Because what you gonna do? I mean, this entire administration to me feels like all the episodes of Survivor that's been on for 25 years with 50 seasons combined. Like, who is going to get dropped off somewhere and the rest of the administration is going to move on? I just don't understand it. And then Donald Trump say, I always hire and appoint the brightest minds. Or baby, Kristen Dawn embarrassed you today. And girlfriend got, you just got let go. She got let go. A lot of people seem like they're relieved. A lot of people in Congress seem relieved that she was just making this portion of his administration and just really, really embarrassing. So sayonara, girlfriend. Good luck. I wish you all the best. All right. We got a new segment that I am introducing called It's Random, but It's News. So, we add new things, right? So it's called It's Random, but It's News, all right? And so I don't know if you've heard about this, but the Atlanta Hawks and Magic City are teaming up together. That's right. The Atlanta Hawks and Magic City. If you don't know what Magic City is, baby, you're going to have to Google it, all right? But Magic City is infamous and famous at the same time, all right? And the Hawks are playing the Orlando Magic March 16th. So I see the correlation with Magic, right? So this is supposed to be, a night where they're celebrating the team coming in. They're going to be all sorts of, there's a podcast that's supposed to happen. A DJ is supposed to be there. T.I. is supposed to be performing. Magic City is known for its lemon pepper wings. So they're going to be serving lemon pepper wings. Okay, I'm going to tell you, if you don't know what Magic City is a strip club, okay? If you don't know what it is by now, you should. Yes, Magic City is a strip club. Everybody knows about Magic City. Men's, women's, boys, everybody goes to Magic City. It's almost like a hangout, to be very honest with you. But a lot of people are like, well, why are they connecting the Hawks? I mean, the people clutching their pearls, talking about, we don't want strippers associated with the Atlanta Hawks. But it's an Atlanta thing, right? It's what we do in ATL, right? So that is supposed to be happening. They're teaming up, and it is just a part of Atlanta's culture. So I thought it was really interesting. I didn't really understand what it was, but I get it now. I get how they're trying to tie in the Orlando Magic with Magic City here. So that's kind of cool. And I keep hearing that I ain't never been. Let me just put that out there. I've never been. Okay. But I do keep hearing that these lemon pepper wings are good. So it is random, but it's news. Next up, as it relates to that, and speaking of T.I., 50 Cent and T.I., y'all. That's hard for me. I gotta tell you what, that is hard for me. Let me tell you what that's hard. That's hard for me because I love both of them. I do. And I know a lot of people think that 50 Cent is a troll and people don't like him and he's kind of a bully, but I like 50. All right. I don't mind, people that are a little, I like a little spicy. Okay. And so I don't mind, 50 Cent and his little antics. I don't mind that. Right. But this feud between him and T.I., I'm going to just be honest with you. It made me a little nervous, okay? It made me a little nervous. Because I'm like, y'all, come on. We old now. And what are we doing? Why is there a rapper's feud going on, okay? But because of this feud that we all know about between the both of them, 50 Cent, and let me see if I can pull it up, y'all. He just put out a post. And he said that when he gets quiet, let me make sure I get it right for y'all. He said, remember how quiet I got before the Diddy doc? Dame Dash thought I wasn't coming. I hope this doesn't mess up the promo tour that you're going to go on, and everybody's going to be asking you about your 20 sexual assault cases. You might want to talk to a crisis PR person. And that's in relationship to, I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago that Tiny and T.I. were sort of in an entanglement situation about some alleged misconduct. Okay, you remember that? Now, I ain't the one to gossip, so you ain't heard it from me. But 50 Cent said he might drop another dot. That makes me really, really, really uncomfortable, okay? I don't want to see this feud continue. Now, I will say that the young T.I. children did cook in them verses and them songs that they put out. I will say that them little boys got down, okay? And everybody knows that T.I.'s kids are really talented and they got down. But y'all, I don't want to see these grown men that have created great empires. They are major musical influences. They be creating music that I love. 50 Cent created power that I love, okay? For them to be going back and forth with this feud. So I'm hopeful that they kind of chill out. I'm hopeful that they kind of relax and just, allow this to pass because, we know what the feuds do with Biggie and Tupac and the East Coast and the West Coast. And all that stuff is so heartbreaking. So I don't want to see that happen. But it's random. But it was news. All right. Good week this week, right? We had a lot of stuff to cover. Okay. Y'all ready for the weekend? I'm ready for the weekend because we just made it to the best day of the week. Something today, right? I hope you got some insight. You learned a little bit more about this war a little bit. If you don't know everything about it, maybe it'll encourage you to do a little bit of research. I know it's tedious, it's laborious, it feels like school, it feels like history class. I got it. But I always say what's important to me about you coming and watching the show is for you to leave educated, for you to leave with a little bit more insight on some of the things that are going on in our world. So thank you for coming to hang out with me, all right? Don't forget, please like and subscribe. Follow on all social media at HearMyTake_. And the best compliment that you can give me is by sharing this episode and any others that you think are really good that you've heard from me, all right? Let's ride this thing till the wheels fall off, y'all. All right? Let's see how good this thing can get. And I want to make sure that you and me, we do it together, all right? Remain in heavy pursuit of the things that bring you joy. Remember, use me as a testament to birth your thing, all right? Don't stay in the shadows. Birth your thing, boo. I'll see you next Thursday, all right? Come back and listen to Hear My Take, all right? God bless you. I'll see you then. See ya.